Nick stood on the windowsill, frantically throwing down large amounts of cash, deliberately causing a sensation among the crowd gathered below. However, his actions were not due to any grudge against the money, but rather to provide cover for his brother, who was carrying out an operation in the building across the street. As everyone's attention was focused on Nick, his brother swiftly sprang into action on the roof of the opposite building. They first arranged the bomb's fuse in a circular shape, then used a steel plate as a base, drilling a small hole in the center and placing the bomb inside. Finally, they covered it with a mattress. Once everything was ready, it was time for Nick's performance. Everyone assumed Nick was planning to jump, unaware that his true intention was to use the screams from the crowd below to mask the sound of the explosion from the opposite building. Sure enough, at that moment, the people below had no idea that an explosion had just occurred on the roof of the building across the street. By then, Nick's brother had already successfully infiltrated the diamond building through the hole created by the blast. He bent the ventilation fan and crawled through, then entered the administrator password to operate the elevator to the top floor. Next, they used ropes to sneak into the floor housing the diamond vault. To proceed, they needed to pass through the surveillance area. Fortunately, they had made ample preparations, using a cloth the same color as the floor to slip out of the camera's view. Once they reached the surveillance blind spot, the brother took out a camera and photographed the surveillance perspective, printed it out, and pasted it on a model to create the illusion that everything in the vault was secure. In this way, the two successfully reached the vault door. However, just as they were about to enter the vault through the ventilation duct, a nearby police officer suddenly discovered Nick's identity. It turned out that Nick was the police officer who had been ignominiously imprisoned years ago for stealing diamonds, and the hotel he was currently in was owned by the diamond owner. Realizing that Nick might be trying to steal the diamonds again, the police chief immediately notified the security captain of the diamond building to return and check the diamond vault. Seeing that their mission was about to be exposed, the brother quickly repositioned the vent to cover his brother's retreat. Nick had a plan. He began throwing cash at the crowd below, instantly blocking the security personnel's path. The brother took advantage of this time to swiftly install a micro camera on the code lock, then hid in the ventilation duct just a second before the security personnel arrived at the vault. When the security captain entered the vault password, little did he know that the password had been secretly photographed. After entering the vault, the security found that not a single diamond was missing. They believed that the police had been overly suspicious because the vault was full of sensors, and not even a fly could break in. However, they overlooked one detail: the camera in the corridor above had been frozen. The plan was supposed to proceed smoothly after the security left, but the SWAT team suddenly mobilized because Nick was a fugitive. They were preparing to launch an all-out attack on him.